for me, the whole experience 10 years ago was rather weird. It seemed to me to be more like a dream when it was happening. I mean, I just sat down on the sofa in my living room and turned on the television. And then it came, the pictures of the towers coming down. The clouds of rubble and dust and smoke and flame, and the same bit of footage of the plane crashing into the tower was, coming on again and again. And I couldn't understand it. It was... I refused to believe that this was actually happening. I thought that this was maybe like a very good special effect from some B movie, but I couldn't understand why it was being shown on every single TV channel. Something inside me refused to believe that this was actually happening, because it was too over the top. And the things that people reported to have said over their cell phones and over the email on the run up to this, the whole story started to emerge. What were the plots? The Middle East, Bin Laden. And as the days passed after this, I think that there was a noticeable change of attitude and perspective, because the moment January the 1st of the year 2000 had come, we'd always thought, new century, new millennium. Everything's going to be a new start. Then 2001 came. September the 11th, 2001. And I think something inside all of us thought, maybe this says something about what the new century is really going to be about, and some of the ideas which are going to dominate the headlines and our thoughts. So it was a massive shift from a time of hope, thinking about the evils we put to rest in the early part of the 20th century, towards building some kind of progress society in the West, and then hoping we could bring the benefits of Western life to people who are suffering, providing charitable assistance to the poor and the hungry and the rest of that. And this was the hope that was inside my heart when we were in the year 2000. And then bam, there was a definite change in perspective, point of view, that I think we all felt. It was a whole new paradigm of life. And although I'm living in England, I think that there was a bit of a change in the mentality of the British people as well. Namely, we're a much smaller country than America. We all need America to help us. I'm sure that, prior to September the 11th, there may have been the occasional British person who may have had some unpleasant thoughts about American cultural imperialism, because all we get, we get a lot of American TV and American movies and American soft drinks and all the rest of that. But this moment, 10 years ago, September the 11th, 2001, that was the moment when it all changed. And I think that we all started to realize and to believe that we were all one, the Western world, the Western cultures. We had to kind of look out for each other, but we were kind of at a loss as to how that could happen or how we should do it. Sure, we've all heard on the tannoys, on the subways, and on the train stations that we got to remain vigilant and report suspicious activity or suspicious baggages and so on and so forth. Which is scary, because we really shouldn't have to be like that now. But we're still there. We're still in a kind of a war. but it's a kind of war that we haven't fought before. It's nothing like the battles of the 1800s, where everyone would wear the right uniform, would turn up to a specific battlefield at a certain time. You know, it's being done in a much more chilling, brutal way. Some would argue by both sides. And the arguments over who is really right and who is really wrong, I guess they're going to carry on for a while, until the problems in the Middle East, the causes of the problems have been sorted out. Our role in the problems has been addressed, and the roles of the perpetrators and those who celebrate terrorism, when their problems have all been sorted out, then maybe we can move forward with the same kind of like post-war mentality that we probably had after the Second World War, and on, you know, in the 50s and 60s, rebuilding Britain, rebuilding the West, rebuilding civilization as we know it. And right now, the whole thing's got worse. We've got a global economic recession on our hands, and there's all the finger pointing and all the blaming as to who's responsible for this, that, and the other. And that's going to have an impact upon our ability to deal with terrorist actions in the West and in the wider world. It's going to be a long time before we can actually have a planet in which there's total peace, you know. But with our intelligence, our wisdom, and our desire to be, I suppose, forgiving, we as a species will find a way. We'll get through this. And I think the end result for all of us will be a lot of learning, a lot more sober thinking, political correctness in balance, maybe, and understanding the role and power which language has had to shape the recovery after 9/11, and to shape the destiny of us as a species. To everyone in the United States of America, right now, I'm thinking of you. To the friends and family of those who died, my thoughts are with you. God bless.